61, they show a Negro and crocodile, South Italy. Italy is Rome. Remember Kittim? Remember I mentioned about Kittim? What happened to these people? Here's another book that you can order called The Dark Age of Greece. This is a book of archaeology which spans from the 11th to the 8th century before Christ. This is about 900 to 700 years before Christ. 500 years before Alexander the Greek, and so on, by A.M. Snodgrass. A lot of you don't realize that Greece had a period called the Dark Age, and this is not making reference to the Middle Ages. This is making reference to the centuries before Alexander the Greek came in 333 BC. Let's take a look inside the book. This is on the internet I'm looking at. This is a picture of Greeks making weapons. What color are these Greeks? That's why they called it the Dark Age of Greece. Why? Because Japheth's son Javan had inhabited this area of blacks in antiquity. Okay? See the picture on the cover? This is the picture we're going to look at. This is showing you that another culture was coming in. Okay, you see this dark skin here and this lighter skin one. Two women, different races, but all in Greece. Okay, this one was moved out. Side and front views of white ground cantharos in shape of janiform, heads of a Negro and a white. It's from Tarkanian, 510 years before Christ. Okay, we're back in this book called African Presence in Early Europe. Okay, edited by Ivan van Sertima. I'm going to page 44. Listen close. Recent excavations at Thera, an island to the north of Crete, that's in Greece, has yielded the fragments of many impressive murals that bear witness to the existence of an African or Libyan element. Remember, they use this term African on anybody brown skin. And what I'm showing you is that when Esau came in, all of the brown skinned Japhites, the sons of Japhet, Javan, the sons of Japhet, they called them African, Libyan, all meaning burnt faces like Ethiopian. Now let's take a look at some of these murals. All right, I'm on page 46. I'm turning it to the side because it's a side view. Let's look at Japhet. Do you see these black people in this building? Let's pull back. What happened to this black people that lived in Greece? Look, people standing here. You got soldiers on the top, black. People rowing the boat. These are Javan's sons. Here's another one. In Greece, these were the original Greeks, black-skinned people. Black-skinned people. All right, here's another one. Page 51. Okay, look. A war scene. Look, watch this. See that face? Watch what it says. Head of a Libyan African. See that? They put them words on all brown-skinned people. These are Japhet's sons. Look at this. Boxing princes. Long hair they have. Okay, look, Mycene, 1550 BC. Look at the Greeks on this plate. Dark skin. When Esau came in, they just called everybody Ethiopian. That's what many of these books today, you go calling everybody Ethiopian. Look at this, in Pylos. Portrait of an African priest from Pylos, dated 1250 BC. He's not African. These are Javan's sons. All in Greece. All in Greece. Okay. We learn from primary evidence that these Ethiopians, dark-skinned people, Japhets, were in intimate contact with Greece and Rome from the moment that we have records of Greece. Let's read that part again. From the moment that we have records of Greece, meaning our understanding is based upon what the white man has allowed to come out. That's why this author writes, from the moment that we have records of Greece and Rome, and probably before. As is stated by Jones, 1972, Homer writes in the Iliad and the Odyssey. These are two Greek mythology. A lot of these mythologies, Greek mythologies, are based on some truths of the wars that they had, of these Ethiopians as blameless and pious people. They appear at Troy as soldiers under the leadership of Ethiopian general Memnon. Therefore, we learn of Ethiopia and Ethiopians long before there is even a conception, much less a political entity of Europe. As Europe emerges, we have what? We have neither Greece, Rome, nor Europe without Ethiopian contact. Meaning, they couldn't hide all of the dark-skinned people that were there already. That's what this author is revealing. Here, let's go down here. The physical evidence for an Ethiopian black African, in other words, Japheth, presence in Greece and Rome is compelling and extensive. You see that? They couldn't cover up all the black art that was there. This is before Alexander the Greeks, before 333 BC. Now let's take a look at this map. You have Greece here. Right above it, you have Macedonia. Okay? I'm going to deal with Macedonia for the time being, because Alexander's father, Alexander the Greek's father, was called Philip of Macedon, king of Macedonia and conqueror of Illyria, Thrace, and Greece. He started to unite all the Caucasians, the whites that were over there. This is his father, Alexander the Greek's father. Okay, bear with me a moment. We're going to deal with Macedonia. Now let's get back to the Bible, okay? The author of our understanding. Let's read this. And it happened after that Alexander, this is Alexander the Greek, the Great they call him, son of Philip the Macedonian, let's zoom in close on that. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, this is one of Japhet's sons, remember, Rome, became known as Rome, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians, Medes. Medes, this was Japhet's son, Media. Okay, when you read Genesis 10. But back to Macedonia. Philip, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Let's read that again. And it happened after that Alexander the Greek, Alexander III, son of Philip, okay, this is about him, the Macedonian, they were from Macedon, that was the beginning there, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So Alexander became the first king over Greece. So Alexander's father was Philip of Macedon, the Macedonian. Let's look at the Macedonians to get a better understanding of the Greeks that came after. Let's go to in the Apocrypha, Esther chapter 16 and verse 10. We're going to get their nationality. For Ammon, this is the same Haman that you read about in the book of Esther. For Ammon, a Macedonian, so Ammon was also just like Philip of Macedonia. He was a Macedonian. For Ammon, a Macedonian, the son of Ammedatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood and far distant from our goodness, as a stranger received of us. So now it says Haman was a Macedonian. He was not Persian. Now remember, this was the Persian time. They were ruling. So he obviously was not a Mede either. Okay, because the Medes and Persians were working together. But he was a Macedonian, a stranger from the Persian blood.